What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. In today's video, we're going to be going over the best stocks to watch in the market for this week and some important news that happened over the weekend. We hope everyone had an amazing 4th of July weekend, but now it's right time to get right back into the market. So make sure to stick around to the end of today's video. We have a lot of great plays and a lot of great info. Towards the end of today's video, we have a $9 million trade for this week. But Tom, let's get right into today's episode.
Yeah, for sure. And last week, we saw the market rocket up to all-time highs. We have the QQQ pushing up towards 360, hitting like 358, 359 on Friday, on Friday, I should say. I hope you guys enjoyed your day off on Monday, by the way, and I hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend. But the SPY, like I said, was ripping up to 430, 410, having an amazing week last week. And you know what else was having an amazing week was crude oil or /CL on Thinkorswim. And man, Bloomberg reports that OPEC Plus failed to reach another deal, abandoning its planned meeting and leaving the oil market facing a much tighter supplies than had been expected. And this is what really made oil shoot up, which is an amazing thing. The market's also coming up though, while oil's rising. I'm sure that there's a small correlation there, but mainly it's the tech stocks really making the market rip up. But this oil news has been insane. Oil just keeps ripping up as inflation continues to rise a little bit, at least in these commodities. And man, everybody like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, they've all been kind of arguing about different stuff going on in the oil market. I won't get too deep into it, but overall, pretty nice movement here with oil. And then we also have some China news to cover and then some news with the dollar as well. But oil's really starting to rip, even on the intraday chart on Monday with the futures. They were starting to really fly up yesterday.
Absolutely. And like you said, Tom, we have the market just exploding. The SPY is at right around 434. We have the QQQ exploding. Stocks like NVIDIA are pretty much making new highs every single day. Don't forget, NVIDIA does have that stock split pretty soon. And personally, I would expect a pullback. Even if we remember what happened with Apple and Tesla last year after their split, it wasn't the best. And NVIDIA, while I love this company for the long term, the way they're moving, it's just not sustainable. So I definitely have my eyes on them for a potential pullback.
Yeah, for sure. And NVIDIA has been looking amazing. I hope they keep going up. I'm definitely looking for that pullback as well with them being so overextended. But with them running into the split and everything, they still look fairly strong. And hopefully they can keep going up, because I feel like if they start to fall down and they start to end up like crashing off a little bit, or like if they pull back to like 780 or 800, I have a feeling like the QQQ and a lot of those other chip stocks like AMD, maybe Qualcomm, MU, and some of those other ones, they might actually pull back as well. So that would be a little concerning to see that, for the overall market. But I could definitely see it happening this week, especially with how much NVIDIA is getting overextended. And like you said, like with Tesla and Apple, as soon as that split happened, they end up pulling back pretty drastically. So definitely be aware, because it can definitely happen. And, at this point, everybody's probably thinking it's going to go straight up. And, keep in mind, the market likes to go against the majority sometimes.
You know it. And then, Tom, what's going on with the dollar, DXY?
Yeah, $DXY was actually having a really nice trend to the upside over the past week. But, on July 2nd, we actually saw the dollar end up falling down pretty steeply and ended up coming down from those 92.70 highs. Just pulling back quite a bit. And, this is because of the hawkish view of the Fed, according to CNBC, and that the market is pricing in more of a hike at the end of next year rather than this year. So just keep in mind that the dollar is playing a pretty big factor in the market right now. And we have GLD kind of moving up as the dollar started to fall. So we might start to see gold start to rip up if the dollar goes down. But, I'll be honest, on the daily chart with $DXY, for the dollar index, it's holding a pretty good support down here at the bottom, and we're still a long way from that. I would think that the dollar, I'm still going to be bullish on it for the next 6 months to the next couple of years, especially with the type of setup that we're in. And whenever we look at like the max daily chart on the dollar, you can see how much more room there is actually to the upside, rather than if you're just looking at the past year chart.
Alrighty, and then Tom, we have to talk about these China stocks. So if we look at BABA, they had an amazing jump a couple weeks ago, and I know you definitely took advantage of that one. But even when you just like look at the chart in general, It looks like a lot of these are a little bit oversold and they were due to pop. Even if we look at FXI, I should say, that's an ETF for some large cap China stocks, but there's been some pretty bad news with them lately. I'll let you cover that in a second, but I've just been seeing a lot of like bullish, you could say sweeps on like BABA calls, and then even some just pretty big buying orders come in for the stock. So I know we had some bad news over the weekend with China stocks. What's going on?
Yeah, China's actually doing some crazy stuff. Like you said, Baba's been getting killed the past year. DIDI just got hit on their IPO, and Chinese regulators are starting to open up a cybersecurity review into US listed Boss Zippin and subsidiaries of the Full Truck Alliance. And then also they're looking into DD pretty hard right now. They were also just hitting Baba just a couple months ago. And I just want to bring up Baba's daily chart before I really get into this news, because if we look at Baba's max daily, like Mike pointed out, it was really oversold, and they came down from highs of like 320 all the way down to 210 off of these regulation concerns. So keep in mind, hopefully they can start going up, but this is the type of stuff that can happen. And DD is kind of at the face of this right now. But it says that the Cyberspace Administration of China, the CAC, said the probe had been open to prevent national data security risks as the crackdown on the country's technology sector continues. And CNBC reports that data is a big focus for the Chinese government in a broader attempt to regulate the technology sector, which has grown largely unchecked in the recent years. And in June, Beijing passed a new data security law that lays out how companies collect, store, and use data. And the big thing is that company DIDI, DIDI, they ended up collecting data and storing it in a slightly different way than the government had regulated it to be obviously collected and stored. So that's what hurt them in the short term. But this news could end up being terrible for DIDI, terrible for Baba, and just terrible for all these stocks on the Chinese marketplace. You know, we keep seeing them all go under some weird regulations, or China creates some new laws and then they end up falling, kind of like we saw with Baba. So hopefully DD can kind of hold itself up.
True that. So lots of interesting stuff going on in the market right now. A lot of crazy movement, to say the least. We do have the market basically at all-time highs. But let's get right into these momentum plays. So with the first momentum play, we have BLNK to the downside.
Yeah, BLNK had a pretty bad day on Friday, to say the least, but make them fall below 37.24, 37.25.
All right, and then we have Apple, but to the upside.
AAPL killing it. This is part of the reason why the QQQ was up so much, but make it move above. Yeah, it has a solid level right at 140, so make it break that. If it breaks that in pre-market, then look at 140.50.
All right, now with the last one, we have Visa.
Visa, yeah, back to the upside. Make them break above 240.
Sounds good. So we're watching these three plays. The first one, BLNK, is potentially to the downside only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. And then Apple and Visa are potentially to the upside if it breaks above the level Tom listed. But now let's get right into our member of the day. Today's member of the day is Grub. Huge shout out, Grub. You're a great Discord member. You always have good, positive insight just in general. So thank you so much for that. Tom and I really appreciate it. But now let's get right into the $9 million trade for this week. And we are looking at Tesla, specifically the 500 strike puts that expire this Friday. I'm definitely going to say that they are shorting these puts. They are so far out of the money, and they're weekly. It really looks like these are just like a cash secured put.
What's wrong, Mike? You don't think that Longium and Tesla's not going to hit 500 this week? Come on. Come on. It can hit 500. No, okay. I'm joking. If that hit 500, we'd have some major problems going on in the market. I would say they're shorting it too, but looking at Tesla this week, Mike, I mean, last week was very strange, actually. Look at this. We had Doge, like pretty much a big week of consolidation around that $700 resistance. Hopefully this week can finally be the week that we like push up through that level.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, because the NASDAQ and tech stocks are exploding up, but Tesla's just like, it's just like missing the party. It's just, it's kind of doing pretty bad right now. But anyways, the 500 strike puts, they have like a 4% chance of expiring in the money for this week. So I think we all know what the smart money's doing here. They're just taking advantage of that premium, and they're definitely using a lot of money with it. So good stuff. Either way, Tesla will be in my radar. I'm kind of hoping it breaks out of that resistance, like you said, Tom. 700 is a pretty big level.
Yeah, it is. And that's going to be a really smart trade by whoever took this play. Like you said, taking advantage of those premiums. And I would say the chances of this one playing out are probably 99.99% or something really close.
Yeah, it's basically that. But now let's get right into our questions from the previous episode. And with the first question, we have Rara saying, what are your thoughts on Palantir? So I really like this company for the long term. For the short term, I'm neutral on it. It had an amazing recovery for like the past like month and a half or so, from like that $17 to $18 area, ran all the way up to like 20, you could say almost 28. So it really just had a huge pop up in such a short time frame. So like I'm just neutral on it for the short term, but for the long term, I'm definitely bullish.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in the short term, there's a pretty big resistance here at 25.30. If you want to be a little careful of that level. And I have a huge support, I should say, down here around $24. And then there's kind of a middle support area around 24.50, but the main levels are 25.30 and then 24.
All right, and then we have Boss saying, can you please take a look at FSLY holding calls that expire this Friday? So it really depends on your strike price. But we do know those weekly calls they're very risky. The theta on those things will be brutal. Looking at Fastly's chart, I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. They have resistance right at 60, support at 50, and they're going towards that middle part of the range. Plus, you have weekly calls. I'm not a fan of it, to be honest.
Yeah, me either. And it's going to take a pretty big turnaround for this to, really start to get a big pop back to the upside. So we'll have to see if it can happen. We are sitting right on the 1,000 SMA and we're sitting at that $56 area. So maybe we'll see a bounce, but honestly, I would doubt it. And especially like looking at the daily, it looks like it's starting to really sell off pretty hard, at least in the short term. And it bounced off that 100 SMA.
All right, and then we have Wall Street Thug saying, please review ZBRA. So, Tom, check out the max weekly on this thing. It's pretty crazy. It's just like an exponential just explosion. I know they have a lot to do with like data and like computing and all that good stuff, but it's exploding up. I'm not sure if you're looking at this for like a potential long-term hold. They look like a solid company, but in my opinion, they just look a little bit overextended. I mean, especially on this max weekly chart. What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely makes them appear overextended. And I would say they are too, personally. Like, I would not be buying any shares up here at the top or anything like that. Definitely looking for a little bit of a pullback. But the good thing I do like about this company, just eyeing it up with the fundamentals really quick, is that the EPS was going from $1 a share, back in 2016, 2017, slowly getting up into the 2s and 3s. And now we're into the $4 EPS area. So it's good to see this company actually growing on their balance sheets as well as growing on the stock. So I really like it. But like you said, for the short term, it is a little overextended. And like personally, I wouldn't be buying shares here. I think it looks decent maybe for calls in the very short term. But honestly, like I said, I wouldn't be going in it for the long term right now.
All right, and then we have Muscle saying got in on DNUT today for fun. It was up $4. So Krispy Kreme, I love Krispy Kreme, but I haven't looked into their fundamentals or anything, but I might have to. I know they just IPO'd, so there's not much chart data to go off of, but it looks like $22 is the main resistance right now.
Yeah, it is. And there's not too much levels to go off of, like you said. So keep in mind, it's definitely going to be a little volatile, I think, for the next few days. It might go up and down quite a bit. And at IPO, a lot of these stocks like to fall, but, hopefully Krispy Kreme can go up. If you guys have not had a Krispy Kreme, let me know in the comments down below. They're really good, especially whenever they're warm. And I know Hunter hasn't had one, so definitely let me know if you like them in the comments down below. And I honestly would not be surprised if this became a target of like Wall Street bets or something like that, with it being DNUT and then also just being Krispy Kreme. I think it could get on some type of like hype train or some type of meme train if something ends up happening.
Absolutely. I love Krispy Kreme. And I know you said, like, you brought Wall Street Bets into this, but someone made like a post the other day saying some of the best performing assets in 2021 are a failing video game retailer, a cinema chain close to bankruptcy, and a dog themed cryptocurrency. So, maybe we'll add, Krispy Kreme or something along the lines to that list. But yeah, the market has been really crazy so far this year. But either way, I'll definitely have Krispy Kreme on my radar. But Tom, do you have any last minute stocks for this week?
This week is going to be pretty tough to start off. This is a 3-day weekend that we were going into, but there's a lot of good setups setting up for the beginning of next week, starting with Apple. To me, Apple looks amazing. It's sitting right on that 140 resistance. We might pass above that. This was also our free momentum play for today. So if we start to pass above 140 or 140 25 or 140 50 tomorrow, I think we'll start to see a pretty big move out of Apple and out of tech overall. And also, I'm going to be watching Tesla. On Friday, we extended up, hit $700 even, and then tanked right back down. So definitely going to be watching for Tesla to possibly break out. And I think if we see a breakout with Tesla, we'll definitely see the QQQ start to move up. But honestly, Tesla's been consolidating for like 5 days, like I talked about earlier. And I think it's just ready to move big one way or the other. Could possibly be good for like a little bit of like a straddle or something like that. I wouldn't play that personally, but some people like to do that whenever it's in setups like this. And honestly, I would look at it to go up if it can break above 700. If it goes down, I probably just won't end up playing it.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you want to trade with the bots and then Tom and I every single day, you can click the first link in the description down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We post brand new videos every single day. And then come join Tom and I live every single day at Market Open. The link for that is the StockedUp Live YouTube channel. It'll be in the description down below. And then don't forget to join the StockedUp Discord. You can network with 13,000 other traders completely for free. The link for that will be in the comments down below, but also in the description. We hope you guys have a great night, and thanks for watching.